Sweet. And we will be live here. Perfect. All right. We are live here on Facebook and LinkedIn. My name is Joe. I'm the CEO of the Palm Beach Tech Association, and we are joined here by the team from the Flatiron School. If you've ever heard of Flatiron, they're one of the larger technology and coding boot camps in the United States. And very, very much online. So they're going to be talking a little bit with us today about their programs and specifically 5 essential skills for online learning. But before we get there, I just want to welcome everybody who's joining us on Zoom and who's joining us online. And to reiterate, we are Palm Beach Tech. We serve the South Florida tech community, and our mission is to build South Florida into a tech hub. So thank you for everybody who's joining a part of that mission today. If you have not heard this spiel before, we are a nonprofit organization. We have over 200 corporate members that are technology companies and companies aligned with the technology industry here in South Florida, including FPL, Digital Resource and Office Depot, to name a few. We have a community creed. It simply says we are a wholeheartedly committed to building a welcoming, collaborative, and inclusive community for all. We want to make sure everybody feels welcome on our calls, at our events, in person, online, whatever it is. We are here for everyone, and we will do whatever we can to be inclusive for all. In addition, here's a group of our members. Just to reiterate, we are membership-based. These companies are really what drive these events, and everything that we do really that support our team, support our staff, support our efforts, support our mission. We would not be able to do it without members like these and a couple hundred more that we don't even have room in one slide to show. And if you're interested in any more of our events, you can take a look here. We have our Tech Talks on Mondays, our community coffees on Tuesdays, podcasts on Wednesdays, and our workshops on Fridays, in addition to peer groups that we also have. But there's always something going on. And as we hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, get back to in person, a lot of these will be in person as well. One big event that we have upcoming, our hackathon this weekend. Our team has been really working hard on this. Todd Alpert, who's on here clapping, he's going to be coaching for it as well. There's a lot of really great things that we're going to have going on for this event. So hope everyone can share at the very least and hopefully take part as well. With that, 2 more slides. Membership. I've talked about it a couple times. Check it out, palmbeachtech.org. We'd love to have you as a member. We have corporate and individual memberships. Join us on Slack if you're not on Slack. Also, if you're not on email, just go to our website. Go to, you can type in your email and just text it to this number here real quick, 250-7206. And if you have not yet, if you're interested in getting your resume out there to some of our members, we have a resume distributor on our website. It's right next to our career board, which you can check out some job boards, job postings as well. But if you're looking to get your resume out there, simply go to palmbeachtech.org. You find the resume distributor tab. You put in your resume and some basics, and it sends it to all of our members. So that's a little bit about our organization, a little bit about what we can do to help out those who are looking for jobs. We hope that you guys enjoy the conversation today. With that, I would love to introduce Gretchen Stamp, an educational coach from the Flatiron School. Again, they are top-notch folks up there, and they do a lot of online programming, and they do some great things with us. They are a member of Palm Beach Tech, and we're really happy to have them on our team and in our family. So thank you to Lindsay Johnson, who also helped organize today, and our team. But Gretchen, would love if you would take it from here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, let's just share this. All right, hold on. Okay, can you all see that? Can you all see my screen? Okay, great, awesome, thank you. So we're gonna be talking about setting yourself up for success, the 5 essential skills for learning online. This is kind of what I give my students when they're first joining Flatiron. This rundown, after years of doing this, we've kind of realized that there are 5 things that students really need to have in order to be successful for specifically online learning, but in general, all learning. So when your schools open back up, all students will be good to have this. So basically, the main areas are to cultivate a growth mindset. I will go over all of this more in depth, but to manage your time, to be a professional, collaborate and communicate, and to step out of your comfort zone. So let's dive in. So the first thing is to cultivate a growth mindset. So first, what is a mindset, right? So a mindset is basically an established set of attitudes and beliefs that a person has. And this is incredibly important because your mindset plays a critical role in how you view the world, how you cope with challenges, especially in a school setting. Growth mindset can contribute to a greater achievement and increased effort. And when facing a problem, people with growth mindsets tend to have show greater resiliency and are able to kind of cope with those problems that come up in a healthy way, and use it as a experience that kind of creates growth instead of distress. So the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset is that a fixed mindset means that you believe that your character, intelligence, and any ability that you have is static and fixed in place. So what you were born with, the attitudes that you have when you were born, are the attitudes that you have for the rest of your life. People can't change, you can't change, things are just how they are, right? A growth mindset is the exact opposite. It's that it's when someone sees all of their abilities, their character, their intelligence as something that is always developing and evolving, and that you can change that on will if you decide. So like I said, it's a key element to success in any field. It's a willingness and desire to learn new things. It's how we evolve as a society, as a company, and as people. So it's regardless of if you are cultivating a growth mindset in school or in the professional world, it's something that you will need to do eventually. So might as well do it now. So some of the kind of internal dialogue that might be happening, or things that you might notice that you're saying if you do have a growth mindset, are just some of these. It's never too late to learn. It's okay if I fail, at least if I learn something. I'm a lifelong learner. As long as I have determination, I can do anything. What can I do better next time to make this work? It's really kind of taking a reflective process. What worked, what didn't, how can I use my strengths and like propel me forward, and how can I take my weaknesses and learn from them and grow. So the best way to develop a growth mindset, I always hate when these workshops they go to and they give you all this stuff about what to do and they don't tell you how to do it, right? So I'm going to tell you how to do it. But how to cultivate a growth mindset is, first, you really have to get some distance from your thoughts. I always recommend meditation, but whatever it is that helps you to notice and recognize what the thoughts are in your head. What are those things that are running in the background all the time? Are they telling you that you can't change? Whatever it is that they are telling you that you're noticing is more of a fixed mindset and has that dialogue going on rather than a growth mindset, just recognize that first. The first thing that you need to do is recognize that you have that happening. Then you get to reframe them. So, if it's telling you can't learn, then you say, I am a lifelong learner, or I am capable of growth. But you just reframe it and make it something that is more growth mindset, or fixed, and if it's, you don't want to, aim for the stars right away. If it's telling you that I can't learn anything new, then you, instead of saying, I am a lifelong learner, I am a constantly learning new things, which might feel a little bit out of your realm, then you can say, I am willing to see if I can learn, right? I am willing to try learning something new, and then gradually change it until it's something that is growth oriented and more positive. And then take action on the growth mindset, right? So if it's, I can't learn or I can't change, and you change your mindset and you reframe it, and then you have this thing that's telling you like, I can change and I can learn, I can grow, then do something that shows that. That's the best way to cement that knowledge into your head, is to do something that learns that, whether that's joining a tech school and learning how to code and grow that way, or whether it's running a marathon or learning how to bake gluten-free bread. I don't know. That's something that I want to do. So that's why I threw that in there. So, take action that shows that you can change. And that way you can, that way it cements that like, that's actually a true thought in your head. Okay. So the next skill that we're going to talk about is managing your time. This is so unbelievably important in any learning environment. This is the thing that I find that I work with the most with my students on is managing your time. So it's very easy, especially in a boot camp type program, to fall behind if you're not really super strict about your schedule. And there's often in life that we're supposed to do a million things, and all of a sudden 5 hours later, you're like, wait, where has my time gone? Because you haven't managed properly or you haven't scheduled yourself. So some tips about how to do this effectively are to prioritize. At Flatiron, we find it really important to stay connected to your why. What is the reason that you're doing the thing that you're doing? Why did you decide to do this? If you have your why in the forefront of your mind, then it prioritizes it, right? Like I want to learn how to code so that I can make a ton of money and, support my family and, I don't know, donate all my money to a good cause, whatever it is, right? So like, but have that in the forefront of your mind so you don't forget that and you don't, lose sight of that. And then the TV show that you really want to watch is on, and that takes priority over this incredibly important thing that you're trying to do because you're not keeping your why in the forefront. So whatever it is, take a Post-it, put it on your computer, look at it every day, put it on your mirror when you're brushing your teeth, whatever it is, keep your why at the forefront of your mind. And be consistent, right? There is a book, what is it called? The Artist's Way, I think. And it talks about writing, and it's no different for any skill that you're trying to learn, but it's being consistent. So every day at the same time, sit down, whether you feel like it or not, whether you have anything to write about or whether you know what you're going to be doing for coding, whatever it is, sit down at the same time, regardless of what's happening. And just, even if you're staring at the computer, you're just setting that consistency into your body so that it becomes a habit. I'm a big, big proponent of planning. I have a planner. I have a planner on my computer, and I still have like the planner book because there's something magical about writing down. But whatever you need to do, like I love sitting down on Sunday nights and planning out my week. I think it's the number one thing that someone can do to really kind of be successful and hit their goals. Because if you put every day in for the whole week when you're going to work towards your goal, and when you're going to work on your schooling, whatever it is, then you're going to actually do it. So definitely plan tomorrow, today. Optimize your environment. I know this doesn't seem like a time management skill, but you will not want to sit down and learn if you don't like the environment that you're in, right? And this is especially important now when everyone is learning at home and maybe don't have the optimal space, that their desk is next to their bed looks really comfortable. They could just slide right over and go to sleep and take a nap, right? So we want to optimize your space so that it makes you want to work, right? So some things that I've done with students is, getting a curtain track on their ceiling and putting it as a divider between their bed and their desk when they're working, just that it signifies a separation, right? You can't see it. Whether it's putting inspirational quotes or like having a clean space to work in, that is really helpful. That it keeps you on your schedule and on track. Also, take breaks. This seems counterintuitive, but I cannot tell you the amount of times that I've worked with students when they are like, I just have to keep going. I just have to keep going in order to, catch up. I've been a little bit behind and I need to, I can't take any breaks. I need to work for 17 hours today and I'm only going to sleep for 4 hours and then I'm going to get up and then I'm going to start again tomorrow. And they're like, and I've been stuck on this one problem for 7 hours and I can't figure it out. And I'm like, I need you to take a break. And they argue with me, but I argue right back. And eventually they take a break. And even an hour break, sometimes they come back and they're like, oh my God, I was in the shower and I just realized how to fix my whole problem that I was stuck on for that long. Because your brain can actually relax and then it starts to like creatively think of solutions, right? So you need to take those breaks. And it actually helps you work faster. And then be realistic. When you're scheduling and your time management, 2020 is a wild, wild world and things happen unexpectedly. So be realistic that life happens. And this is especially important because I have a lot of people that beat themselves up, right? I had this schedule. I didn't keep on track because my dishwasher exploded and there was water all over the place and whatever. And they're beating themselves up because they couldn't continue with their coding, but life happens. So just go with it. You'll make up the time. It's fine. Okay, so the next one is to be a professional, right? I think a lot of people make the mistake that they think that they will begin to learn how to be a professional when they are in the professional world. But when you are in a professional school that is teaching you to be a professional in the coding world, you want to practice those skills now so that you have them down pat for when you are working, right? So you want to think about, what does it mean to be a professional? What are some qualities of a professional? One main thing is that they start things, right? This Stephen Pressfield said that the sure sign of an amateur is he has a million plans and they all start tomorrow, right? So starting today is one thing that you can do to be a professional. But on top of that, there are many characteristics of the professional, right? It's show up and be seen, right? I think especially when everything is online right now, it's really easy to kind of hide in the background and, play small. But I think it's important when you are learning to be loud with your mistakes, be loud with your learning, because one, it normalizes it for other people, and two, you learn more from it because you get more feedback, and you get more help when you are in the forefront. The other thing is to respect other people's times. If you make an appointment with someone, an educational coach or a instructor, show up on time. Don't be late. You wouldn't do that in the professional world. Don't do that now. If you make an appointment with one of your classmates to work on Zoom on some problems, then show up on time. Also be prepared. So that doesn't just mean like having your assignments done on time. That means that get the most out of your learning. And so if you have an appointment with someone, show up with the things that you need to be successful in that meeting. So if there's a topic in Rails that you are struggling with, show up with that problem and say, this is what I've tried. This is what's not working. This doesn't make sense to me. I need help here. Instead of just coming in and whatever happens, right? So be prepared. If you're giving a presentation, prepare for it beforehand. Don't practice during your presentation. Also be gritty. Learning, especially learning online, takes a lot of resilience and grit. You need to kind of fight your way through it, and do whatever it takes to be successful. So working with others, knowing your learning style, and doing whatever it takes to get that learning style and use that to your advantage, even if the school that you're in doesn't really do that, right? So like if you are a hands-on learner and you need to be learning hands-on, then every single lesson that you have, build something on the side. Don't just wait for your projects or your labs. And then be personally accountable, right? Know that this is on you and you have a ton of help and you have a lot of resources, but it's up to you to use those resources, to reach out when you need help. It's up to you to learn this material. None of us can, make the information get into your head, right? So be accountable for your work. And then we have communication and collaboration. This is super important when you are learning to code, because one is, communication and talking about your code is a skill that needs to be learned outside of just learning how to code. I have a lot of students who learn the code, but they never practice talking about it. And they are at a severe disadvantage from the students who are, because when you're doing technical interviews, when you're doing your project reviews, you need to be able to speak about code. And it's like learning a different language, right? Like when I took like 7 years of Spanish, and I could read it and I could write it for all of my tests. But the second I went to Mexico for the first time, I was like, I never practiced talking about it and I can't say a word. So like coding is the same thing. You need to learn how to talk about it. And collaborate with other people. Most coding jobs, you will be on a team. You will be collaborating with others. You will be at least going to morning stand-ups and talking about what you're working on. So get into the practice of doing that now. You usually learn better when you're working with others. So also, when you feel like you're part of a team, it gets you through, right? So there's a comfort to being part of a team. Practice presenting your work to others, because you will be doing that in the job force. And it helps you to give and receive feedback, which is another really important skill for a growth mindset, is to be able to give and receive feedback. And these are super important because, as I said, like it relieves stress. Think about back to school when you were like in high school or something. You always wanted to go to the class more when you had a friend in it, right? So if you work with other people and you feel more connected, then you'll have less stress, overall satisfaction, and improved performance. So, the best way to communicate and collaborate effectively is to develop some of these skills, right? So develop empathy, kind of put yourself in the other person's shoes. How might they be feeling? Especially if you're giving some feedback. How might they be feeling before you give them feedback, right? Like, are they nervous? Do you maybe have to give them a compliment sandwich? Or, how do you need to approach this situation for the person that you're in? How do you need to approach this conversation for the person that you're in? Nobody's the same. And so you should tailor your conversations for the people that you are having them with. The next important thing is to listen. You can't have a conversation and collaborate with someone if you're not willing to listen to them. So really kind of suspending that need to think about the next thing that you're going to say, and instead just let the information that they are saying to you and the words that they are saying to you kind of go into you and land. Speak clearly and with conviction. Collaboration is not about just giving in to the other person or hey, whatever you want, we can do, right? It's about having ideas of your own, right? And so you don't want to talk about an idea that you might have or a code that you have, and be like, well, I thought that maybe this might, I don't know, maybe be a good idea, possibly, I don't know. It's fine if you don't think so, right? Like no one's going to want to even listen to that suggestion, even if it's a good one, So you want to speak with conviction, like, what you're talking about. You have a good idea. Don't interrupt when someone is talking. This is similar to listening. No one will want to collaborate with you if you interrupt them every 5 seconds. Be willing to keep an open mind. Suspend the idea that you maybe know what's best and listen that maybe somebody else does. Be curious. This is super important, even in general when learning online, but why does this work? Why does this person think this when having a conversation? Like I wonder what their background is that might be influencing, the reason that they're doing the code in this certain situation. Being really curious is super helpful. And then, being willing to take the lead, which goes back to kind of, going back to kind of that conviction. Where are we? Here we go. There we go. So being willing to take the lead, and guide the conversation if that's what's needed. Okay. So the next one is to step outside of your comfort zone, right? You're never going to grow and learn anything if you're not willing to step outside your comfort zone. The biggest rewards in life are found outside your comfort zone. Live with it. Fear and risk are prerequisites if you want to enjoy a life of success and adventure. So why is it important to step out of your comfort zone? Because it's one of the only things that leads to growth. You're never going to grow if you never do something that's uncomfortable and outside something that you're comfortable with, right? Even when we learned to read, right? That was uncomfortable. We didn't know how to read. We'd never seen words before. So you have to, in order to learn, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And it's the only way to improve performance and to foster creativity and flexibility. when you go outside of your comfort zone and you step outside the box, you start to see things in a little bit of a different way, and it adds to some creativity. And it can increase confidence and feelings of being an expert rather than an imposter. A lot of the times when you're learning something new, there's something that we call imposter syndrome. And that is when someone thinks that everyone else is doing way better than they are, and everyone knows more than they do, right? And it's usually not true. But if you are, the more able you are and the more willing you are to step outside your comfort zone, the more you learn, and the more you start to feel like, oh, maybe I'm actually not that much of an imposter. Like maybe I can do this, because you've learned so much. Okay. And so one thing to do is like, what would make you the most uncomfortable? Like in this moment right now, what would make you the most uncomfortable? And this is your starting point. This is the place to begin, right? And you do that by setting a small goal that feels slightly uncomfortable, but not too scary, right? So like if outside of your comfort zone was to learn or run a marathon, you wouldn't go out and your first step be to run 20 miles. You would probably really hurt yourself, and that would be terrible, and you would never want to run again, right? But maybe the first step would be just put your running shoes on and stretch. Maybe that's where you are. Maybe the second step would be to go for a walk. Maybe then you start running from mailbox to mailbox and then walking from mailbox to mailbox, right? Whatever it is. But gradually a little bit more step outside your comfort zone and like really make a decision about what you're committing to. And so those are our 5 essential skills: cultivate a growth mindset, manage your time, be a professional, collaborate and communicate, and step outside of your comfort zone.
Thanks so much, Gretchen. That was actually really good, because it wasn't necessarily just technology. Like these are just good skills just in general in life. But I really really enjoyed the presentation. With that, I want to open it up for questions. If anyone has anything who's on Zoom here, I see Todd coming off of mute. So if you want to go ahead first.
I was just going to also add that, sorry about the barking dog. I was going to also add that I thought it was great. And I feel like you could leave the online off of the title, right? It's just like, these are principles for learning, especially a new skill, like going to a code school, like, whether it's online or not. I agree, Joe. I think this was a really good overview and really good just life advice too. Like, as Joe put it, it's great. Thanks, Gretchen.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions?
I do. I just wanted to say that this is an awesome lecture. I think this could be very useful for those who want to join an organization or a company and offer them their skills, but they must take into the account about their accountability and their professional life in order to grow. Like, when it comes to time management, what's your opinion on multitasking, doing multiple tasks all at once in order to achieve the several goals that you want to do? Say like learning how to do web design versus doing back-end development.
I mean, that's a great question. I would like to also say that my life is multitasking. So, I think when you're working in a professional environment, a lot of the times we're doing 3 things at once, if not more. But I do think, and Todd touched on this a little bit earlier, but like, I do think that when you are in the learning phase still, you can either kind of have a broad knowledge of everything, or you can be really good at one thing, right? And so, when I went to school for psychology, I wasn't also learning about nutrition. I did that afterwards, right? So because I really wanted to focus all my skills and all of my attention in one area. And I think it's good to have all those things that you want to work towards. But there's no harm in doing one thing at a time, so like first maybe web design, then maybe, back end, which is why, Flatiron, and I'm not really familiar with Boga code, but that we we go through all of these front end and back end. We throw some CSS in there and HTML, and but it's done in a way that's progressive and that kind of builds on each other a little bit, and that makes you kind of a more well-rounded learner instead of just a piece from here, a piece from here, a piece from here. It's more comprehensive.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, and I also want to hit on the fact that the soft skills in a 21st century tech industry are so important, especially with all of the remote work now that we have. And one of the things that we hear most from our members, and especially our board of directors, is soft skills are paramount. And I've had board members of mine say, you know what, just bring me somebody who can write an email. I'll teach them the technology side of things, because that's, how much weight sometimes are put in it. Literally somebody who can, focus on a task and complete it, or, write an email. So those sort of things that we see here in South Florida, I think are very, very, very paramount throughout the entire tech industry throughout the country. It's really nice to see, what you guys are up to at Flatiron, to be able to highlight that and share some of that information. This question for Gretchen and or Lindsay, where can somebody go to learn more about your programs, or maybe learn more about some other coding programs in general, if those folks are looking to get into the tech industry?
Definitely, I can take this one. If you're interested in Flatiron School specifically, head to flatironschool.com, or you can email me. I'm on Palm Beach Tech Slack, so you can also Slack me there. But lindsay.johnson@flatironschool.com, and I'd be happy to point you in the right direction. Otherwise, if you're interested in learning code, or seeing if you're interested in it, or looking to gain some technical skills without committing to a course, events like these, meetup groups, free workshops are incredible resources. And that's how I've learned as a marketing person, getting to be in these rooms with everyone here. That's how I've picked up a few coding skills. So those are incredibly invaluable, and they're free and a great place to start and get to meet people who are also on the same journey as you. So I would definitely recommend checking out events. And I think right now in this online virtual world, we have the benefit of not being tied to a geographic location necessarily to attend these events. So definitely, I would say, look at Meetup and see where you can go from there.
Awesome. Well, for those also interested, go to palmbeachtech.org. You can learn more about our organization there, and then the other educational programs that are throughout South Florida. We do have a tab there of all of the colleges, all the coding boot camps and things like that. But I do want to thank Gretchen for presenting today, and Lindsay, obviously, for your support, and of course, the entire cadre of members online here, and specifically James and Todd for chiming in. So thank you all so much. I really hope everyone enjoys the rest of their week, and leave you with a happy Monday. So thank you very much, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
Gretchen. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you.